Good morning, Nickel City Mafia. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers Buffalo Bills pregame show. I'm Mike Thornton, and oh my God, I can't be more excited than opening day of the NFL season. Could barely sleep last night. We're coming to you early. We're on the West Coast out here, so we're up super early. But the nice thing is the game starts at 10 a.m. our time, and it's over by 1. Gives us some time to do some things in the afternoon. But joining me today, I'm very excited about this as well, bringing in one of the top guys in in football. No, I'm just joking. Bringing in my best friend of 36 years, Troy. It's been 36 years, hard to believe. But Troy Gregory, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? How's it going? Excited to be here for this first game of the NFL season.
Yep, and I mean, Troy, as you can see, his only flaw, I don't know how we were able to stay friends for 36 years. You'll see what he's wearing right now. It's a Dolphins jersey. But I thought it important to bring him on to give us a little unbiased opinion. Me, I try to be unbiased, but that doesn't always work. So Troy's going to keep me
Not
straight.
at all.
Yeah. So Troy's going to keep me straight. And the nice thing is we're going to come back to you next week when we're talking Dolphins. So go ahead, Troy.
I was gonna say that's definitely gonna be an interesting show for sure. But we have today to get through first.
Yep. All right, so Troy, before I get into the show here, let me just remind everyone to please drop a nickel on that subscribe button, like and comment. One of the best things you can do for us is comment. Let us know that you're agreeing, disagreeing what we're saying. Let us know how we're doing. Really appreciate that. And I just want to make you all aware that we have an amazing giveaway. So you're definitely going to want to hit that subscribe button. You're definitely going to want to hit that notification bell so that you're alerted when the giveaway drops. It's big, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed. So that you're going to hear more information probably, I'm saying in the next 3 to 5 days, we're going to drop that video. And we're going to do some good things for people with that giveaway and just have a lot of fun with it. So anyhow, Troy, let's get started. Here we go.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. All right. So notable injuries. First week, not too many injuries to speak of. For the Bills, we got Star Latualea. He is out with a calf injury. Unfortunately, I was looking forward to having him back. Last year, he opted out due to COVID, and he is back now. They're saying it's going to be probably week 3 before we see him. Emmanuel Sanders is also questionable at this time, but
Does that guy still play?
Dude, he of course he plays, and he's very, very good. Yeah, he is questionable right now, so check the injury report. Within the next, they typically have to have it 90 minutes before kickoff, so check that out. Steelers, no players listed, so they're coming in very, very healthy. So, Troy, let's talk about a little bit of the key changes, both on the Bills and the Steelers. I'll start with the Bills, and then you can kind of talk a little bit about the Steelers. So,
Sounds good.
The beautiful thing for the Bills is that pretty much everyone is back, including Starr, who I just talked about. Of course, he's out for the first few games. And we added Emmanuel Sanders. First and second round picks. We focused on some of those needs we had on the defensive line. Gregory Rousseau, Boogie Basham. I expect to see one of them having some big impact today. And then we had, we have 11 defensive linemen on our active roster. Now, of course, Star's out. That brings us down to 10. I don't know. I haven't found any information whether or not they activated someone off the practice squad. So as far as I know right now, we have 10 active linemen. So that's going to allow us to keep things fresh and just keep the pressure on Ben all day. So that's kind of, it's a good thing that we didn't have a lot of changes. I mean, everyone coming back, we were already good. And another year in the system and getting familiar with your teammates and just adding some depth around what we already had, Troy. I mean,
depth is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing to have depth.
So unlike what you're going to talk about, so let me throw it over to you, kind of talk about some of the key changes with the Steelers this year.
Yeah, the biggest change is they have a new offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. He was the quarterback coach last season, and he's replacing Randy Fitchner as the offensive coordinator. It's his first year as an NFL offensive coordinator. He does have a lot of experience as the OC, but going back to 1997 in the college ranks, and he's been the offensive coordinator with such programs as Maryland, LSU, and Pitt. So he does have experience as offensive coordinator, just not at the NFL level yet. So that'll be something interesting to look for. Ben is not going to have a single lineman who took the field with him to open the 2020 season. This is huge.
Wow.
That means there's not a lot of experience there behind him. Their center, Marquise Pouncey, retired. So now they have 2 rookies starting on the offensive line. Third-round pick, Kendrick Green, he's going to be starting at center. So he has some big shoes to fill. Not sure that he's going to be able to do that at being a rookie. Fourth-round pick, Dan Moore Jr. is going to be playing at left tackle, another rookie there. And Kevin Dotson, he's a second-year player. He's going to be starting at guard. So a lot of inexperience there in the offensive line. Big thing here is first-round pick, the overall 24th pick overall, Najee Harris from Alabama. This guy is a special player. He's a dual threat, catching and running the ball. And here's the one thing. Najee Harris just can't wait to silence the Mafia.
Yeah, I heard him saying things like that. And but Troy, you bring up some good points. I mean, pretty much a brand new offensive line, very inexperienced. Losing Pouncey. Pouncey was a 9-time Pro Bowler. I mean, when you have that staple at center,
big loss for them.
It's and not only that. Now you're throwing at them a new system. Now these young guys are, maybe they weren't there for the system last year, so it's fresh, not a problem for them. But the other guys were. Ben, the receivers, tight ends, they were all there for the system. So you're throwing at them this new system, new offensive coordinator. Now he was there last year, Matt Canada.
Yeah, he was there as the quarterback coach, but it's still a little bit of different feel for him, to take over the offensive coordinator position.
Yeah. And then you're absolutely right about Najee Harris. I mean, this guy is going to be special in this league. He's built very similar to Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. So he might even have, probably has, like you mentioned, he has good hands. So they don't throw the ball a lot to Henry, but I think you'll see that be a little different here.
It'll be a different story with Najee, that's for sure, I think.
Yeah, totally agree. So, Troy, let's talk about some of the key matchups. But before we do that, I want to remind the folks that you and we did an AFC Contenders show. I don't know, it's a little over a month ago, right? And we went through the top 8 contenders for those 7 playoff spots. And
that's right.
I made the bold prediction that the Steelers were not going to make the playoffs.
I talked with Mike Tomlin this morning about that, and he's still fuming about the fact that you say that they're not going to make the playoffs again this year.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches in the league, so the Steelers are a well-coached team. He's never had a losing season yet. I mean, he's had some 500 seasons, but he hasn't had a losing season. And I'm not saying they're going to have a losing season, Troy. Remember, we have 17 games now this year. We have that one extra game. I'm not saying he's going to have a losing season, but there was reasons I predicted that. I mean,
here's one thing we know about this season and the fact that there's going to be 17 games. There is not going to be a team that's going to be 500 and make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. It kind of is. If you
no, with the records.
Yeah, it really isn't. You're absolutely right there. But I mean, I gave my reasons, right? First of all, there was an aging Ben. Ben, they got off to a great start last year. I mean, 11-0, and then down the stretch, they struggled to win another game. And Ben's arm was just shot. They were different offensive coordinator, a lot of dink and dunk, which he needed to do because he was coming off that elbow surgery the year before. So he just looked shot. It looked like that would be his last year. I also said that they do have the hardest strength of schedule this year. I mean, dude, if you look at 3 of their first 6 games are playoff teams, and then their final 6 games were if you take a look at their schedule, you'll see what I'm talking about. I just didn't see them making the playoffs. Now, and then you talk about their new offensive line, right? It's just going to be very difficult. They're in one of the toughest divisions in the AFC. Now, something has changed. Something has changed. The landscape's changed a little bit. Baltimore has had devastating injuries to their squad. They've lost their three starting running backs for the season. They've lost their all-pro Marcus Peters cornerback for the season. So you have those type of losses to start your season. Now things have shifted a little bit. I'm still going to stick with the fact they don't make the playoffs, but now they have a real shot due to these changes over there in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to Ben's play and how and how this offensive line is able to come along and provide protection for him.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, so let's get into the key matchups in the game, Troy. For me, last year's game, I was watching a little bit highlights again last night. This game was close early on, and the Steelers deep into the second quarter had a lead 7-3, and they had the ball, and Ben throws a pick six, and it changes the momentum completely at that point in time. So we go into halftime with a 9-7 lead, and we come out in the third quarter and we were able to put up 2 touchdowns and kind of pull away from at that point and hold on. I mean, it was like I think it was 26-15 score. But up until that pick six, that game was extremely close. So what I'm seeing as the key matchup this year, we already talked about it. It's that offensive line on the Steelers side. They had a very experienced offensive line last year. Pouncey was in that game, but he was coming off of he had missed the prior 2 weeks due to COVID, so he wasn't at his best at that point in time. But dude, their defense is always strong. So I feel like the defensive side of things is going to be what it was last year, if not better. I won't spoil your talk, but with T.J. Watt getting a big bonus, signing an extension last Thursday, he's going to have a lot to prove. So I believe on the defensive side, they're going to be strong again. But I just don't see how the Bills don't take advantage of that offensive line of theirs with our defense, with our depth on defense, with most of those guys, all those guys returning from last year, with the addition of some youngsters. Epinesa, who we drafted last year in our second round for as an edge rusher, I think he's going to have a huge bounce back year. You got Gregory Rousseau, who we drafted in the first round this year, and of course we got Boogie Basham. You add those youngsters to go along with those experienced players, and Troy, I'm not really seeing a path for the Steelers to win here. Maybe I'm feeling too comfortable.
Yeah, in order for the Steelers to win this one, I think basically you need Ben to be Ben of old. We don't need to see Ben from last year. We need to see old-time Ben. He needs to take advantage of Najee Harris coming out of the backfield. He needs to be able to dump him passes, let him use his receiving skills, and let him do the things that make him Najee Harris. You know, he was great at doing those things at Alabama, and he needs to bring those to the NFL. The key will be that inexperienced offensive line, like I talked about before. If they can give Ben the time, then the Steelers could have a shot at this one. But it's going to be tough, and they need to be able to do the things that they have to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. To me, they're going to have to do the ground and pound. They're going to have to use Najee, hand the ball off to him, dump some passes to him, little play action plays, and really hope, in my opinion, they're going to need some breaks along the way. Of course, they're going to need that defense to step up. And, the defense did a great job against the Bills last year, but I still think the Bills are going to be able to take advantage of them. But the Bills are aware of this, Troy. So the Bills are aware of the fact that they're going to have to probably come at him with Najee Harris. And
Right, exactly. And it's going to take a special game out of everybody on the Steelers side in order for them to pull out this win.
now I will say this, Troy, in that the Bills struggled against the run last year for whatever reason. They really did. So I'm expecting better things from that defensive side against the run, as well as definitely bigger things with that defensive line being able to put more pressure and more quarterback sacks. So yeah. So
We'll see what they've done in the offseason.
yeah, for sure. You're going to see some special things today. And then, Troy, take into account, okay, listen, last year we didn't have any fans in the stadium, right? So
True.
So home field advantage wasn't really a home field advantage. It was pretty much raw talent against raw talent. And the best teams typically won. This year, you got, 70,000 fans are going to be there at Highmark Stadium today, just blasting. And that young offensive line, I mean, throw everything else that we already talked about, the fact that the inexperience, and throw in that crowd noise, Troy. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, that's definitely something that could play a factor in the game. But, all these guys have played in front of big crowds before. So I don't really know how much of a effect that's going to have. But, it is one of those things that, unaccounted things that people, sometimes don't think about.
I mean, yeah, I guess they've played in college, and those college stadiums can pack in the fans. But when you're learning a new system, Troy, and you're needing to hear those audibles being called, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be extremely difficult. Did you have any key matchups yourself, Troy, other than what I've talked about?
Let's see here. No, I think we covered all of that. I talked about how Ben needs to get the ball to Najee. That's really the biggest thing that needs to happen, is let him take control of things.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally agree. All right, Troy, let's get into some of the impact players impact players to watch that I think are going to have obviously a big impact on this game today. So I'll start on the Bills side. So for me, it's Tremaine Edmunds. Tremaine Edmunds is our special middle linebacker. Troy, I know you haven't seen a lot of Bills games, but this guy is probably the most athletic at the position. If he's not, I would like you to tell me who another person is. The guy is 6'5", Troy. He runs a 4.5 4.40. Now, to compare it to one of your favorite linebackers of all time, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis ran a 4.58 40. He's bigger than Ray Lewis, so he weighs 253 pounds. What he doesn't have that Ray did is the instinct, right? Ray just made huge plays. He was able to shoot the gap where he needed to, and that's kind of where Tremaine Edmunds has been struggling a little bit. Don't get me wrong, the guy is a superstar, but he can definitely elevate to the next level. And I think with the line in front of him helping him out, and plus they brought in Luke Kuechly this year, Troy, to help him out. One of the best players at that position, to come in and work with these, not only Tremaine, but the other linebackers as well. So for me, I'm looking for a big, big game from Tremaine Edmunds. Help stop that run, make more plays at the line of scrimmage, makes more plays behind the line of scrimmage. And I'm looking for special things this year from Tremaine. I don't know if you've had much, been able to see him much or hear much about him, Troy?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And then on the other side of the ball, on the offensive side, if Emmanuel Sanders does not play, and even if he does play, I'm looking for special things from Gabriel Davis this year. I think Gabriel Davis is going to have a breakout year. I picked him up on my fantasy team. I'm expecting huge things from him. And then I'm going to throw one more guy in there. I saw some promise with Devin Singletary in preseason. It was just preseason, but I think he's ready to get back to the Singletary I was used to from a few years ago. Now, do I expect him to run much? Absolutely not. I mean, it seems like the NFL is just, you saw the Thursday game. I mean, the running games were out the window. But they're definitely going to need it to run the ball at times. And Singletary is also one of those. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he could also be a big impact on this game. So again, Tremaine Edmonds, Gabriel Davis, and Singletary. Give me some impact players over there on the Steelers.
Well, first one, of course, is going to be T.J. Watt. As we mentioned earlier, he signed a $112 million contract extension, and he's definitely probably the best at his position right now. He's going to want to show you why he's getting paid all the money that he's getting paid. He wants to prove his worth there. Minka Fitzpatrick, he was drafted by the Dolphins, the 11th overall pick in 2018, but then requested to be traded in 2019 as he felt he was playing out of position, didn't like the way the direction the team was going on for him. So Miami traded him away to the Steelers.
Big mistake.
What was their thinking, you might be asking about? Why would they do that? Well, like I said, Fitzpatrick and the Dolphins were on different pages. He wanted to play one way. They had a different plans for him. So it really doesn't surprise me that things ended the way that they did. Fitzpatrick is going into contract negotiations next year. So he's watched what TJ Watts has done. So he's going to be wanting to produce this year. So he's definitely going to be somebody to watch as the season goes by. He's been all pro the last 2 years. He knows what he needs to do, and so he's hoping to have a similar outcome as TJ Watt did. So those are the biggest keys, I think, for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. Fitzpatrick, he's many experts say he's already the best at the position. And typically when you're the best at the position and you're in a contract year, I mean, the fact that he's the best already, obviously he's going to want to even elevate it a little more. Yeah. So that's super scary. But that's one of the guys definitely the Bills have to worry about this game. And then you mentioned it, TJ Watt. I mean, I looked back at the game last year. We kind of kept him in check. But you're right. He's got a little extra chip on his shoulder, a little more to prove. Not that he didn't have a lot to prove last year. But when you just get paid that much money, you better make some plays in a game like this.
Absolutely.
Right? In a game like this. So those good picks.
Allen better be looking out.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job in that first half against Allen last year, and then we got it rolling in like I said, the third quarter, and they made some great halftime adjustments, and we were able to, like I said, pull away at that point in time. So it's going to be, like you said, Troy, I don't see us putting up huge numbers on offense. The defense is stout. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I think not only can we put some points up on offense, I think our defense, and we made a play last year for a pick six. You might see something like that again, or some forced fumbles.
Absolutely, especially if that offensive line isn't able to protect Ben. You can for sure expect some defensive fireworks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ben's always been, as big as he is and as slow as he is, he's always amazed me how he's been able to extend the play, just sliding a little bit. He's a big guy. He's tough to bring down, but he's a year older, man. I think he's been in the season 18 years, Troy. 18 years, I think, is what I read.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show you with the rule changes that the NFL has made as far as protecting the quarterbacks, guys like Ben and Brady, they're able to play much longer in their career, much longer careers now. So the NFL is doing what it wanted to do, protect those quarterbacks, keep those stars around longer, and they've made changes all over the board, not only to protect the quarterbacks, obviously to protect those receivers, but so looking for a good game. I think the Bills, let's get into the score predictions here. Obviously, I'm going to try to keep it a little controlled, Troy. I'm not going to just say we're going to whoop up on them, which I should say that. I feel I don't want to insult Mike Tomlin if he's watching the show. Hey, Mike, I don't want you. I don't want you coming up with something special just because I'm saying, how we're gonna beat you pretty bad. But no, I'm gonna keep it 27-17, Troy. I think it's it's not as close as that score makes it seem. I think there's a late score by the Steelers to get to 17, but I feel comfortable, and this may be a bad thing, but this is one of the most comfortable times I've had when we play a team like the Steelers because of what we talked about already.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as you on this score. I had it listed exactly the same, 27-17. I think it might be, you say, a late score by the Steelers to get to 17. I think it might be a little bit more that the Bills get a late score to bring it up to 27. I think it's going to be close to the end, and then maybe the Bills will open it up a little bit towards the end of the game. But I'm on the same page as you, 27-17.
Thanks, Troy. Appreciate that, and the Bills Mafia appreciates that. We Dolphin fan. Now, this one thing about my friend Troy here. He knows football, and he's gonna give you, as much as he and I joke, and we, dislike each other's teams. He'll give you a fair opinion about what's going to happen today. So I appreciate that. So Troy, you guys have an actual important game today. You open against the Patriots in Foxborough. So this is not a Dolphins show. We'll be talking a lot about Dolphins next week because that's who we're playing. But I'm curious. Give me your take on that game and what's your prediction there?
It's definitely going to be an interesting game. I mean, you have both teams. Tua played, with the Dolphins last year, but he was in and out the whole time. Both of the quarterbacks, both for the Patriots and for the Dolphins, both played with each other at Alabama. Jones was the backup to Tua, and so these guys are good friends. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic to this game to see what happens with there. And I saw somewhere, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it's like the first time that Coach Saban quarterbacks are playing each other in like a opening game scenario. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch of the Dolphins game. I think it's going to be a close game. It's a 3.5-point spread for the Patriots to win. The game is in Foxborough, I believe. And but I don't go along with that. I think the Dolphins will prevail, and they will beat the Patriots 24-21. That's my guess.
Good pick there. And you and I, Troy, on the AFC Contender show we did a while back, I mean, we had the Dolphins making the playoffs, and it really comes down to Tua, right? It's Tua. It's his team, and I don't feel they have a lot of confidence in him quite yet, but we'll see. And it's going to come down to that. So
the one thing that I'm really excited to watch is, they picked up Waddle in the draft, who was Tua's main receiver there at Alabama, and he's a very dynamic wide receiver. So I'm really excited to see how the two of them pair up in this game.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one. So Troy, I mean, that kind of wraps it up for us today. Again, I want to say I appreciate you joining me this early in the morning. You and I,
bet, man.
You and
it was fun.
Yeah, you and I will be back at it next week because again, Buffalo goes to Miami. So
this was a practice run for next week.
Yeah, exactly. So Bills Mafia
gloves come off next week.
Yeah. We're not. That's the one twice a year, Troy. We're just not friends, right?
Yeah,
it's every year. We're just not friends.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something funny that my son said. He said, "Dad, if I ever get drafted by, because this is Jonah, he's 9 years old.
Yeah.
He said, Dad, if I ever get drafted by like Kansas City and I'm the quarterback and I have to play the Bills, who are you rooting for?" I said, "Jonah, unfortunately for that week, you're not my son. You're not my son."
Somehow I have a feeling that you will be wearing Kansas City red on those days.
I don't know, but I told him, sorry, he could not believe, "Dad, I'm your son." I said, "Jonah, I'm born and raised in Buffalo. There's no way I'm going to be pulling for Kansas City. I don't care if you're the quarterback." And if people ask me questions, I'm going to be like, "I don't know that kid. I don't know who he is." But in all seriousness, thanks again, Troy. But
You bet, man.
Let's go, Bills Mafia. I can't wait. We are, 2.5 hours from kickoff. So excited. Get your food ready. Those out at the tailgate party there at the Highmark Stadium. Let's go. Let's go. Now remember, please
Let's get some wings.
drop a nickel on that subscribe button. Like, share, comment. I love for people to comment. That's how we meet new people. And remember, huge giveaway coming on this channel. So definitely hit that notification bell so that you're made aware when that video drops about that giveaway. It's huge. It's huge, Troy. I kind of shared it with Troy. Troy, don't tell the fans what you know, but am I lying when I say this is big?
Oh, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome for sure.
All right, Troy. Thanks again. You have a great day. Everyone out there, I might see you in the post-game show. I've said I would try to do both. Definitely going to do pre-games all the time. Might see you in a post-game show. So anyone, have a great weekend, Troy. Enjoy your Sunday. And let's go Buffalo.
Let's go Dolphins.